Hey, what is up you guys? My name is SubZeroExtabyte and I am throwing another video at you guys today. This time I have the privilege to drive very expensive cars into very expensive things. Well, actually I am going to drive into the earth guys. How about that? But, don't worry guys, I will not destroy the earth like I did last time inside that elevator. Remember, I accidentally pressed the red button, but I know for sure that you guys would have pressed the button as well. I never thought it would destroy the entire planet. Luckily for us, the Earth is intact this time, and we just spawned at this amazing space station which has some very cool cars. Maybe these are the cars of the astronauts? I don't know. But what I do know is that I'm going to drive in one of them, maybe even more than one. As long as I don't crash the car or cars, I don't have to worry about anything. I will bring the car back in one piece. I am sure the astronauts will understand it. I wonder, how on earth did the astronauts bring the cars up here? That is a funny joke. How on earth do you get it? Of course, you get it because one of my amazing talents is telling jokes. Anyway, all jokes aside, I think I am ready to hop in one of the cars and get on my way. I see these amazing cars right in front of me and I feel stressed. I just walked over to the window and I am pretty sure I saw Philadelphia. Do you think I can make it till there? Maybe there is a chance that I do crash and the car will be wrecked. What do I need to do then? Maybe the cars will randomly spawn back here because I have no idea how far technology has brought us today, and maybe the space station is able to get the cars back somehow? Maybe by teleporting them back. Now that I'm thinking about that, I hope they can teleport me back here because I don't want to float around in space forever. And forever is a very long time guys. Like really, a very long time, because I will float around in space until I die. Now I don't know if you guys heard about space, but space can be very scary sometimes. It is so quiet there. It literally is so quiet there that you can hear your own heart guys. Now I am very lucky because there is a house floating around in space, so maybe I can use that as some kind of spawn point. Maybe the astronauts live there? I mean, if you can teleport cars into space, why can't you teleport a house into space? Shouldn't be a problem, of course. I could have done that because I always wanted to be an astronaut. Did I ever tell you the story about me almost becoming an astronaut? Well, I once studied to become an astronaut. It is a very difficult study to do, but once you finished it, you can proudly say that you are going to space. I could have finished it if I did not go to the adventure school. You know, where all the adventure stuff happens. That is why I am now so very skilled in everything and show you guys what I can do. Anyway, I am in space now and I didn't even need to do some training. It's fun being here because there is zero gravity. Well, there should be. But who doesn't want to drive a car from a space station into the earth? That is like driving a bus into your school. I would do that if it did no harm, of course. This can do no harm, right? My car is not strong enough to really do damage to our lovely earth. Oh, and if it does, we always have amazing scientists who discover new planets which are great for us to survive in. Can we always go there? Right? The house that I'm in right now is really nice. I never thought it would be so warm up here guys. Like, it is really nice and comfortable right here. I wish I could stay in the house, but I have another mission to complete. I must drive the car into the earth. And it sure is not an easy job. I mean, look at the darn friction of the cars. It is like the car is driving on ice. It sure is not a good car. I thought these cars were fine, but I am mistaken by the looks of them. I know. I can be wrong sometimes. Although it is not often that it happens, but when it happens, I do admit my mistakes. I don't make them a lot, if I do say so myself. Making mistakes is human. So if I don't make any mistakes, that would mean that I'm not a human. So when people say that they don't make any mistakes or something like that, they simply say that they are not human, and that would mean that they are not from planet Earth, which actually means that there is life on other planets, so we can go to other planets. I wish that was true guys, but I am only speculating right now. All I want to do right now is to drive that car into the Earth because they said it would look cool. I know it looks cool, but is it cool? I don't know, and there is only one way to find out guys. I need to drive another car, and probably another, and another and another and much more after that, because I am starting to get the feeling that all of these cars have a terrible friction. Well, I know I can make it into the house, but that is not far enough. I have come to terms with the car and I am pretty sure I now know how to handle them. I am wondering how much these cars cost. Let's just say these cars are pretty expensive. They also have to be moved to the space station, which is probably not quite cheap either. Then if they are here, the need to be teleported back to the space station when they get lost in space. I believe this is a pretty expensive adventure I am involved in. Anyway, that is none of my business because I only came here to do the work. I came here to drive the car, and that should be a piece of cake for me because I am a driver not to be messed with. I drive 100 miles an hour where the speed limit is 50 miles an hour. How about that, guys? I am cool just because of that. Driving is one of my great skills. You guys know by now that I have many skills, right? But driving is my favorite. I love to drive because it gets me to where I am today. And I mean, I can go wherever I want to go, except when I need to go to Indonesia. Then I need a plane, of course. Oh, and I can do that myself as well. I can fly planes. It would be cool if we had a plane here, or maybe a helicopter or something like that, because that it would be much easier to get to the Earth. Oh wait, but then I can't drive into the Earth, and I believe I can't drive a helicopter into the Earth. No, you need to fly a helicopter into the Earth, but that is much harder to do because the helicopter will stall and probably never hit the Earth and will just float around in space forever. Just like I said before, I don't like to float in space forever. Oh, and it gets even worse because a helicopter can't be teleported back to the space station. That is why I don't really feel comfortable with helicopters right now. If I can fly them where there is gravity, fine, but I think it will not be a smart idea to fly the helicopter right here. Now that I think about that, a helicopter doesn't even fit inside the space station, or does it? No, but we do have to be careful not to run into some other players who are only here to ruin the fun. Luckily for me, there are no other players here but me. Probably because I am just the best and no one has ever made it into the Earth before. Well, that is funny actually, because there are approximately 7 billion people who live on Earth, and I just said that no one has ever made it into the Earth before. Okay, I don't mean it like that, but you guys know that. I just meant that no one else made it here with a car. Okay, that is weird to say as well because there are a lot of cars and everyone uses them. Let's just forget about that, guys, and focus on the thing I need to focus on. For example, food. No, not food, sub. You meant something else. Yay. I am sorry, guys. After all, this talking about space and stuff, I am getting a little bit hungry because there is nothing to eat right here. You know, maybe in one of these suits is something that I can eat, but I believe nothing is in them. Why are these suits here anyway? Maybe they are just for armor and protection, but if they are here for protection, where do they need to protect you from? Are the other players? Well, I don't really see any other players, so I'm going to assume that they are here simply for decoration. I like them because they let me look like a real cool guy with a really cool look. I bet everyone will get scared of me, and of course, no one will dare to come here anymore. I think it will be very crowded inside the space station because they saw who I am and what I am capable of doing. You guys know what I am capable of doing, right? You guys know that I can destroy walls just with my bare hands. Okay, maybe I cannot do that, but I mean that I am a very strong dude who is not to messed with, like I said before. But then I said it because I am one of the best drivers on this planet. Oh. What planet? Most of the people here are at the space station, which is not a planet. I think it is time for me to go back to where I belong. And for now, that is the space station because I want to get back into another car and give it another shot. Maybe I can go back to the Earth for the second time. It will be hard, of course, but I did it once. Why can't I do it twice, right? It sure is possible. Sub can do anything. Like really anything, because I survived many adventures. I even survived space, guys. That would pretty much mean that I am invincible, and I am definitely one of the greater gods here. I think most people see me as the awesome god because I can do such awesome things. I can do things like driving cars without any darn friction, which is one of the most annoying this ever. Like driving a bicycle without any wheels. That is impossible, right? Well, for me, SubZeroExtabyte, nothing is impossible, not even riding a bike without wheels. I can do that. Maybe one day I will show you how I do that, but not right now. Now I am just showing you my awesome skills in driving a super fast car. But well, they are not very fast because, in space, nothing is fast simply because of the zero gravity. Maybe this time I will just chill in the house because it is nice there. I wish I had that kind of a house because that house is huge and it is heated as well, even in space. Now, I have never seen that before. I do have seen a haunted house before. My family bought a house in the late 60s in a small town in southeast Missouri. It seemed like a mansion to us cause it had 3 bedrooms and a basement. I was 9 to 10 years old and my brother was around 5 years old. But it didn't take long for things to start happening. My mom would get locked out if she left the house. When we went to the basement, we always had a feeling we were being watched. That was me and my mom who always had that creepy feeling. Although my mom never discussed this with me till later years. We only had a few neighbors out in the country where we lived and hardly ever locked our doors. My mom went into her bedroom one day to hang her sweater in the closet. When she opened the door, she saw someone or something standing behind the clothes. She said all she was seeing was a pair of old jeans and old shoes right before she took off running out of the house. She went to our neighbors and called my dad home from work. They went and looked in the closet and whoever or whatever was gone. They searched the house. Nothing. My mom told me the house had sat empty for a long time before we had bought it. One night I walked home from the roller rink, which was not too far from where we lived. I noticed when I got close to home that the house was dark. No lights at all. I unlocked the door and went in calling for my mom and dad. No one home. I turned on the lights and TV. I was sitting in the living room when I heard footsteps coming up our basement steps. I got up and went and locked myself in the bathroom. We had a vent in there and you could hear any sounds coming from the basement. I sat quietly listening and I heard the footsteps again coming up the stairs. We had a closet in the bathroom. I got inside, shut the door and crawled up under a shelf. I could hear something out in the hall rubbing up against the bathroom door. Well, guess what? I fainted. I awoke to the sound of my parents' voices and knocking on our front door for me to let them in. I was terrified. Then once, I was down in the barn brushing my horse down. No one was at home except for me. I often went down to be with my horse and sometimes I would sit on her and braid her mane. All at once something scared the heck out of her and she darted out the door. I fell off backward, hit my head, and I guess I was knocked out lying on the ground. Next thing I remember, my mom was trying to wake me, asking me why I was covered in dirt and straw and lying on my bed. I have no idea how I got there. I had one thought, but I don't like thinking about it. Even after I was grown and would go to visit, I hated being alone in that house, and that basement still creeped me out. That feeling of being watched, and not being alone down there, still was there. Someone else lives there now. I just wonder if they experienced the things we did. I hope not. Anyway, that being told, I hope I didn't frighten you too much with this story. I do have another good story to tell. A friend of mine who knows a friend who knows a friend. That guy has the father whose uncle knows a guy which is married to the wife of the brother of the friend who knows a friend, and he once told me we are constantly attracted to the earth by its gravitational force. That is the reason why we always keep our feet on the ground. We don't need to be in direct contact with earth to be attracted by it. However, not being too far away is just enough for the same forces to act. This is why our own planet orbits around the sun, and the moon orbits around the earth. The gravitational force is determined by the mass of an object. The gravitational force between two objects is proportional to the mass of the objects, and it decreases very fast the moment we separate them. In fact, we also attract objects with our force of gravity, but we're too lightweight to see the effects. The sun, however, is so big that it's able to hold us close even when it's so far away. The moon also exerts its force of gravity. Since it's smaller and lighter than Earth, if we could weigh ourselves on it, we would discover we weigh around a sixth of our weight on Earth. One could ask why the moon doesn't fall on Earth as an apple from the tree. The reason is that the moon is never still. It constantly moves around us. Without the force of gravity from the Earth, it would just float away into space. This mix of velocity and distance from the Earth allows the moon to always be in balance between fall and escape. If it was faster, it would escape. Any slower and it would fall. We said the force of gravity depends on distance too. If we were to distance ourselves enough, we could escape its hold. That's what we try to do with spacecrafts. We need to reach and exceed the so-called escape velocity. That is about 11.2 miles a second. At such velocity, we would be able to move from London to New York in just 10 minutes. Once a shuttle reaches this velocity, it is free to travel in the solar system. Inside an orbiting shuttle, we do not feel the gravitational force of the Earth. Objects don't fall, they float. If you jump up, you don't come back down. The same thing happens to astronauts when they are in space stations orbiting the Earth. But what is interesting is that he told me that the universe is everything we can touch, feel, sense, measure or detect. No one knows the exact size of the universe, except for me, but I am not going to tell you guys because we cannot see the edge. If there is one, I know that there is one. Oops. I should not have told that. All we do know is that the visible universe is at least 93 billion light-years across. A light-year is the distance light travels in 1 year. about 9 trillion km. The universe has not always been the same size. Scientists believe it began in a Big Bang. Now for some of you that may be so interesting that they are thinking about hopping into a spaceship and fly directly to the space station. I do believe that we are eventually going to have many more of these awesome stunt parkours in space. I hope to see you guys in the next video, and as always, thanks for watching guys.